Welcome once again to the community. So let me continue with the yeah. So today we are having an amazing section today, and we have an amazing speaker in the person of Stanley Ezendiokwere. Mr. Stanley has like up to a decade of experience in managing M365, SharePoint, like everything about M365. He's an SME of M365. And today is going to be taking us on automating business processes with Power Automate and SharePoint Part 2. I remember the Part 1 when Mr. Stanley was creating the form that he used Arsenal, Champions League stuff. Although Arsenal, we know configure the Champions League final, but I believe that next time we are going to get there. So thank you, Mr. Stanley. So today, Mr. Stanley, hold on that. So Mr. Stanley is going to continue today from the last section. So today is going to be the part 2 of the last section. So before we start, I would like us to know our housekeeping rule. I want us to be informed that the section will be recorded and will be made available for future viewing. So if you are not following us on if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Nigerian M365 Community. You'll be able to get all our videos once you upload them. And always mute your mic when you are not talking. When the speaker starts speaking, I would like all of us to mute our mic so that we're not going to cause any distraction along the way. And also pen down your question onto the Q&A section. We will be having a question and answer section. So if you have any questions for our speaker, just pen them down. And also we have our social media handle that you can follow us. We have Twitter at Nigerian M365 Community. We have LinkedIn. Just go to Nigerian M365 Community on LinkedIn. And also you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. All our events and all are always posted on our YouTube channel. So question and answer will be the last on the stage. So at this stage, I'm handing the microphone to our amazing speaker in the person of Mr. Stanley Ezendiokwere. Thank you very much, sir. And we are pleased to have you here.
Thanks, Emmanuel, for that intro. And it's glad to reconnect once again with the team. I think we did this the first part, so that should be last month, because I think I had another program running at the same time. So now would continue from where we stopped the last time, and then delve into more advanced use cases, right, for the automations we want to do, right? Let me share my screen just for let me know if you can see my screen, please. Okay.
I can see your screen.
Okay, cool stuff. Okay, so I think we stopped at this particular section here. More of the where we wanted to do some practical demonstrations. We during our last class we saw how we could utilize SharePoint, the SharePoint list, forms, Microsoft Forms, and Power Automate to automate the process of maybe event registrations. You want users to register for an event and you want to communicate with them effectively and all that, right? So we saw how we could instead of the standard someone registers for an event and then they get that generic notification of once they've submitted the form, your form has been submitted, and that would be it, right? So we use that to automate the process where the users get more of an email, get some notification on their mailbox that, hey, this is that, and then you could make use of that those particular email records, so once the user submits a form entry, it gets saved into a SharePoint list, right? So let me see if I can relocate that particular I'll locate it. I think let me remember what I created that site as. Project Mbappe. Yes, that's correct. Okay, so I think we created this list where right, so we created this event list where everyone enter their entries, and every entry that came into a SharePoint SharePoint list, right? And then I think that was where we stopped. Then we created this particular flow that captured. Give me one moment. Just try to open that up. So we created this flow that captured. So this was more of an automated flow that gets triggered by an action, right? So automated flows get triggered by some certain actions depending on what you want it to achieve, right? So it's not a scheduled flow, right? And it's not a manual flow. So manual flows are flows that you get to trigger yourself, right? You need to come into the Power Automate screen, or maybe the Power Automate application on your phone, and then you click on run this flow before they start to run, right? But automated flows run without your supervision, right? So once that action clicks through, it begins to run. And for each automation you create, there are connectors that it uses, right? So you see here, it says this flow connected to Microsoft Forms, it's connected to SharePoint, it also connected to Outlook, right? Microsoft Form is the one that powers, where the end user get to fill out their informations, right? SharePoint is the more of a database, for this particular operation. And then Office 365 Outlook is the messaging engine. This guy that sends out this message, with the details and all that to every user that registers, right? So this particular section of the stuff is where we want to capture this. This section is the flow trigger, right? When a response is submitted, and then we select the form, the respective form we want to make reference to, right? So this captures get response details. This captures the responses entered here, and this creates an item on that SharePoint list, and then this sends the email, right? So we've seen how we can use. Let me get this art page. Right, so we've seen how we can use SPO, right? Connects to Power Automate. At this point, I wish I have a touchscreen laptop, but I hate touchscreens. Okay, yeah. So we've seen how. Let me not waste time with that. So we see how SharePoint connects with Power Automate and then blends with the M365 suite itself, right? So today we'll be looking at a different. In as much as Arsenal was unable to qualify for the Champions League, it's fine. These things happen. Let's see how next season would be, right? So we'll still ride on this, see how we can. So I want to take us through a more nuanced, process within most organizations, right? And I think I mentioned this the last time, right? So before you step out to probably create a flow, you need to sit down, draw out the high level, process, what it would be like, right? So let's say we want to draft, a leave, want to create an automation around the company's leave, request process, right? So we need to understand, is there an existing process on ground, right? So once we're able to understand that existing process, then we can now build technology around that process, right? Because that's basically what we'll be doing today, right? Give me one moment, please. So today we want to look at, company XYZ, right? Looking for a way to automate their leave process, right? And they meet Stanley, and they need that particular stuff, drawn out and all, right? So first things you want to confirm is who approves leave requests, right? So you want to understand who approves leave requests. Why you want to understand that is, depending on the nature of the organization, does every leave request goes to one person, or do leave requests go to HR? Do leave requests go to line managers, and all that, right? So whatever approach you you decide to go with, would determine how your flow would look like, right? So because the rule of thumb for flows is it's best to, draw out all the processes and then build from top to bottom, right? Because it will be a bit hectic. It's not impossible, right? But it's a bit hectic to, start editing flows midway, right? So you want to like understand what the process would be like, right? So let me open the notepad. Okay, you can see my notepad, right? Light.
Yeah, we can see on it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Build out a leave management. I think someone has their mic open. That's what I'm hearing the feedback. Okay. Build out a leave management process. Users, end users, line managers, HR department, right? You also want to understand how many team does the org have, right? So now it's how many team does an organization have would have a whole lot to do with who would be their line managers, right? So now, because that actually forms the logic behind how you'd create your flow, right? So now, let's say, so at this point, I don't know, Emmanuel, if you permit me, I just want to create the nature of the training would be at any point someone is confused, they can stop me midway, and I answer that question before, it helps so that everyone follows across. I don't know if that's okay.
Sure, that's okay. Before we go, someone even dropped a question on the chat. He said, is creating a SharePoint list the first step we take when setting up this type of flow?
No. So there's no flow around it, right? So there's no hard. It's not hard coded, right? So you must do this before you do this, before you do this. So you know what you want to achieve, right, and how you want to achieve them, right? So if I'm doing this, how I usually go about it is I first, create a form, right? Because the form would feed into a SharePoint list. Then from the SharePoint list, I'll now do the automations I want to do, right? So that's the way I might go about it, right? So why it's usually best, I say, to draw out what you want to do, probably on a board, on paper, have it looking at it and all that. It helps you know what you need to do first, right? There's no law around it, right? So you decide how you want to go about it, right? So if you look how I'd want to do this, I might first of all probably create a form, and then that form would now feed in a SharePoint list, and within that list, we'll now start doing, the approval and all those good stuff, right? So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, Amo. If you just maybe a thumbs up or so, if it does. Yeah, okay, cool stuff. Okay, so now, like I was saying, so how many team does the organization have, right? It connects to two logic, right? So let's say you are in an organization where they have the marketing team, HR team, media, IT, and all those teams, right? Do they have a single, person that approves every leave, right? What's the hierarchy? Is it your line manager would have to approve, then HR would approve, or is it once your line manager approves, you are good to go, and all that, internal process that you might want to automate, right? So now it would now inform how you want that flow, right? So most flows are usually complicated, most are simple, right? So I can have a flow that says if user is in this team, send the approval request to so and so person. If user is this particular team, send the approval request to this and so person, right? So that creates the logic, the conditional, structure for that particular flow, right? Or if the organization is structured in such a way that within their M365 tenants, every user profile has their manager information there, right? So that when I fetch get manager information, when I use that command for get manager information, it fetches a user, right? Then I can just say, if the person submits a request for leave, just get the manager information and then send the approval request to the manager, right? Straight up, right? So that would be a cleaner flow if that particular if user profiles get tagged to who their manager is, right? So you see that so there are a whole lot of moving parts depending on how the organization is structured. So but here, how we want this to be structured is that, just for the sake of this example I'm doing, right? Every leave request would go to one singular person just for the purpose of learning, right? So, but just bear in mind that you can, tweak it here and there, depending on what you want to achieve, right? Okay. So that's that. And then what do we want to capture? We want to capture the user's name, the phone number, email address. Do we need their phone number? No, we don't need it. Name, email address, type of leave, duration in days. Okay, so want to capture the duration. Say leave starts, leave ends, right? And then want to confirm if the person have you handover completed. Okay, sorry, I don't think my camera is on. Sorry. I don't know who wants to see my fine face. Okay, cool. So just it creates that relatability. So have you completed handover? Have you handed over to the next person? And then any comments? Right, maybe depending on, that's just how I want to create it, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 entries we want to create, right? So how do I want to go about this? So I personally want to create a form, right? A form that would be fed into the SharePoint list that would get to create later on, right? So how do I go about that? I come to one sec. I come to forums. Okay, be here. Let's go to form, Microsoft Form, right? Let's see this particular site, Project Mbappe. Okay, documents. So this is a SharePoint site I created the last time we had the session, right? So I want to create, hold on, let me refresh this guy. I want to create a form within the site, right? Untitled form, leave request form. Okay. Right. So quick start, want to create your name, text, name is required, email address required also. What type of leave, are you trying to take? Type of leave request. So this can be maternity leave, adoption, maternity leave, sick leave, compassionate leave, annual leave. Okay. What other type of leave do they have? Okay, yeah, but yeah, let's work with this either ways, right? So now this is also where, as a developer, you tend to understand what the business processes are, right? So I work in an organization, right? For sick leaves get approved automatically, right? So if I request for sick leave, it gets approved. So I request for sick leave on success factor. Just success factor, yeah. Success factor. I request sick leave, and it gets approved. So it doesn't need to go through my manager, right? So that's so it is depending on what the organization does. But for some organization, if you request for sick leave, you need to inform your manager, provide information, supporting documents, and all those stuff. The same for compassionate. The same. So for annual leaves are the ones that go through your manager, right? So let's just for the sake of this trend, let's remove this. So I wanted to create more of a branching that says if this person selects annual leave. Okay, so it's either I create that branching here, maybe someone selects an annual leave, and then it's a section that would open up and say leave balance, right? So most organizations have 30 days or 25 days leave. So you depend on, put it, but we can do that calculation in the back end either ways, right? Okay, so annual leave, forget that. The leave type, put it this, leave start date. Leave start date, right? Leave end date. Okay, yeah. I think Omo is asking if it matters if the form is created inside the SharePoint site. Yeah, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. I just did that for convenience sake. It doesn't matter where you create the form. What's important is the form ID, right? So it's also in. So what is important is that the form is created within your tenant, right? So it's only important that the form gets created within your own tenant, right? It shouldn't be outside because Power Automate operates within your organization, so it sees only your organization, right? So except probably because even for B2B collaboration, I'm not sure it sees into this other organization, right? So, but it just needs to be within that organization. So it just needs to be within that M365 tenant. Anywhere you create it doesn't matter. So once you have that, because every form has this ID, form ID, right? This form ID here, it's the unique identifier for every form within an organization, right? Right. So it doesn't matter where you create it, just ensure that it's within that organization. All right. Okay. Leave and handover completed. This will just be a yes or no. Mm, no. Choice. Yes or no. Right. What else? Then comment. Okay, yeah. So this comment section, I actually wanted to add any comment for the person taking over from you. Any comment from the person taking over from you. Okay, this is what we'll do. Add the question. Email address of the person taking over from you. Okay. Enter the email address of the person taking over from you. This goes up. Okay, enter the email address of the person taking over from you. Any comment for the person taking over from you. Right. So why I'm just putting this here is I want to create a situation where after if your leave is approved, if it gets approved, then you get notified that hey, your leave has been approved. You can, blah blah blah, and then yeah, that's the relief officer. The relief officer is the person you are handing over your task or whatever to, right? So I want to create a process where once your leave is approved, then the person that is relieving you gets an email that hey, this person has gone on leave, and he mentioned that you will be assisting him. Here is the comments they made, blah blah blah. This is what they want you to focus on or something, depending. That's just how I want to like structure the whole stuff, right? Any comment from the person from you? Yeah, I think that's all. So we ended up having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. Name 6, 7. They were completed. Leave ends. Email address, name, email address, 1, 2, 3. Do I know how to count? Aha. I think I missed something. It's leave end date. This needs to go up, up, and up. Okay. So it should be 8 here because I added 1. Okay. So name, email address, type of leave start date. Right. So why I'm taking our time to have all these conversations, is because so these are things that actually form how your flow operates. It forms how you would want to structure your flow, right? So I think we're done with this form, right? What we would now come here to do would be okay, we're done with this. Now let's create a new site contents. Site contents. We want to create a new list. Would call this list create a list from blank share form to call it out. Just going to create a list. This seems to be new. Okay, so we won't just create a list. Leave request. Leave request. Leave request. Create. Right, we create this. Give it some time. Right, we want to come here. This name. Okay. Email address. Email address, single line of text. And save. Right. Email address, leave end date. Right. Okay. Date and time. Leave start date. Just date. Date and time. Okay. Leave start date. Leave end dates. let me make this a text. Leave type. So because it's getting entries from that particular form into this guy. Okay, leave end date. The type of leave. Relief officer. So you can actually add descriptions to your list items, right? You do all those good stuff. It's usually necessary for someone else looking at your code, your development, right? It's multiple lines of could it should be multiple lines of text. All these additional lines. Okay, cool. So we now have our list. We have our form. Just wanted to confirm something. This form, additional comments, long answer. Yeah, just for okay. Okay, cool. So now we have our form. Now we have our list, right? So now we go straight ahead to creating the flow, right? Yeah. So the relief officer I did create in this form is this person. Email address of the person taking a hand. Okay. Let me make this of the person. You're handing over to. Right. So that's where it comes in, right? Just we need the email address. So why I'm actually requesting for email address is just so that I can key in that email address into the email section of wherever I want to notify who you are handing over to, right? So to create your Power Automate, to create your flow, you can either do that through visiting make.sharepoint make.powerautomate.com, right? And you click on my flows, and then that's the home here. You click on that, it brings you here, right? Click on create so that you start creating, right? I think I wanted to mention something. I want to mention something. Yeah, I would probably remember when I do. Right now, so we want to create an automated cloud flow, right? We want to create an automated cloud flow that will get triggered once the form is submitted, right? Now, you can choose to either create this flow when an item is created in the SharePoint list, right? So, but when an item is created in the SharePoint list, that's another way to go about it, right? So because you're sure of what's being entered, you are already sure it's getting saved, right? So, but I usually want to save myself the stress, right? So once the form gets submitted, right? I want to say here, maybe. Right, so just this more of just setting, like will be like so that anybody using this form would know that this is not a test. This is not a test, right? We're here for serious business, right? Okay. So depending on how you might want to go about that within your organization, as an automation personnel, your duty is to understand what the organization process is, and then you can use technology to build processes around it. So one go with an automated cloud flow, one leave request first. XYZ, right? Okay, let's just call this 365 community, right? So how do you want to trigger, right? So like I mentioned earlier, you can either select when a response is submitted, that's for Microsoft Forms, or when an item is created, right? SharePoint, right? So I want to go with this when a form gets submitted, right? When a response is submitted, right? Okay, so while that happens, let me also copy link. Let me also show us, this, we're currently in an era of AI, right? So let me just show us how we can also do this with AI, right? So here you have this create automation with Copilot that comes with, if you're an admin, depending if you have it, if you don't have it, no worries, right? So here you can describe what you want your automation to do, right? And then it gets created for you, right? So here you can just say, I have a form created where when responses are submitted, it should be saved in a SharePoint list, and then an approval process should take place where we need approval from line manager, and then from a maybe designated person, and then notify the submitter on the response decision, right? So this would click on generate depending on, so this would depending, so it would now, no AI now to go through itself, get a response, create item, start a wait for an approval, conditions and all that you get. So that's just it, right? So you would see this particular process you find here. That's exactly what we would create. But then, so once you are okay with this, keep it and continue. AI makes your life a lot easier, right? And all that. So cool. So that's about. Okay. So let's continue with our manual. Let's continue our manual process, right? So when a response is submitted, right? Yeah. So when a response is submitted, so the parameter it requests for here is your form ID. So it wants to know which form are you talking about, right? Let's see, leave request. Right? It's this guy couldn't find it. That's not a problem, right? What we just need is to come here, at the top here, you see design and ID, right? Just copy out this ID here, come back here, enter custom value, paste the form, the form ID here, and that's it for this particular guy. So in most cases, the drop down would show you the form. Okay. Collect responses. Okay. Maybe let's close this again, see if it shows up. So it could be one of these guys. So, but either ways, if it doesn't show up, just paste the form ID here, and that will be it. So the next process would be, we want to catch these responses, right? So get response, get response detail here, right? So what this does is it creates a placeholder for your submitted entry, right? Get response detail gets, okay, which form are you talking about here? Which form here? This form. Get the values that were entered in that form, right? And then we click on this dynamic button here so that it shows us when a response is submitted. This is the response ID you want to catch, right? So you catch the response from when a response gets submitted on that form, right? So we'll see the flow we did the previous time. and this one. So we see we're using most all of the branches on that particular flow here, and then we'll now cascade, right? So here do we want to do here? We want to create an item. Create an item in the SharePoint. Create an item. So under SharePoint, create item, right? Okay. So when the response is submitted, so if you look, you still see we're doing almost the same thing that this guy. When the response gets submitted, I get response detail. Create item, then start and wait for approval. That cool stuff. Okay. Let's come back here. So create an item. Where do you want to create an item? Project Mbappe here. Which of the lists, right? Leave request, right? And show all, right? So this shows you all the fields in that particular list, right? And then, so what you just need to do here is to tie, each of the entries into the respective field. So remember, we changed the title to name. So this is where we would hold the name, here, email address, just, leave date, leave start date, leave, okay, no. And leave end date. What type of leave are you going with? Type of leave request, who is your relief officer, that's where one, any comment, okay, email, address of the person you're handing over to, that's what want to be there, right? So, okay. So yeah, Solomon, I see your remark. So yeah, it will, right? So, in most cases, it's because I'm here, I'm already in that particular view, right? I'm already in Power Automate. Let's say I created this list. Let's say I created the form maybe an hour ago. It must have registered into whatever system you're working on, right? That, hey, okay, this particular form exists, I think the one we did last week showed up almost immediately, so it has a mind of its own. It does whatever it wants to do, right? So that's why there's an option to put in the form ID if it's becoming a hard one. You just put in the form ID and all that, and you just get going, right? Okay, cool. So this is what we want to do. Additional comments. We want to put okay, any comment of the person, then additional comments, additional. Any comment for the person taking over from you, right? So this one we want to do, right? Create an item, right? Create this, right? I think we're done with this, right? So now the next item we want to do is to just notify this person that, hey, your response has been, collected, and with let's do email forward an email export, send an email version to this guy, right? Want to send an email? Okay, we're sending this email to use dynamic content. Okay, we're sending this email to this person, right? Your has been conf. The leave request has been having. Your leave request has been submitted successfully, right? If I have an error there, you just have to permit me. Yeah, so it depending, right? So you would not have to form, the contents of the email the way you want it to be, right? So we're going to say, hi, your name. Hi, we have successfully Your leave request has been submitted successfully and now awaiting approval decision. Stay tuned within the next 48 hours for a decision from your line manager. Okay, your HR team, right? Yeah, so that would just be this, right? And maybe you just want to say find below your leave request details, right? You may just want to send a recap of what the person so I'm doing it just to show you that you can also use form entries inside of the email you are sending, just to make it look a bit personalized, right? Form entries, leave type, right? What's the leave type? Type of leave, right? Leave duration, start dates, end dates, right? So these are just the information you want this person to see. Leave start dates, leave end date. I want to get it from this guy. Okay. So these are what you want them to see. Can then format this guy whatever way you want. Right. Find below. Underline this guy, bold it. Maybe this way, italize these guys, right? Okay. Right. So that's about that. Right. So remember the last time I mentioned you can also change the email address from where that email is coming from. And I would you need to create a shared mailbox, allow your permission to flow through, then put in the shared mailbox to send as. So, but leaving it this way, it would come from my email address as an admin, right? So that's why we want to change that, at a later age. So probably before you start, you must have created the shared mailbox, added yourself as, added your permission there, just so that it can trickle in, because we were hitting a whole lot of issues that day until I had to create a new shared mailbox, put it there, and it started working. So, that tends to happen a whole lot once in a while right now. Right. So yeah, so we've done this. So we've been able to achieve. So when a response is submitted, get the response detail, create an item, then sends you just a confirmatory email that, hey, we've gotten your information and we're processing it. Right. Now what we want to do is to approval. Okay. Start and wait for an approval. That's what we want to do. So we want to start an approval process and then we want to wait. So what this does is, right, approve. So what this does, it starts the approval process and it waits for an approval, right? So this flow can run for so this flow doesn't complete until a decision is made, right? So it starts here and pauses this flow till someone maybe clicks approve or reject, whatever the case. Okay, so want to create so the type of so this actually what type of approval do you want to create? So I want to create an approval process of just one person, right? First to respond, right? First to respond, right? And then it gives you this, right? So what this does is title for the approval. Sorry. Leave approval request from, right? Request, let's check. So these are just the the information you have to fill for that particular leave process. Then we'll see how it comes into play. Leave approval request for this person, right? Who do you want to approve this leave request, right? So because of this class, I would use myself, right, just to make it a whole lot easier, right? So I want this leave should be assigned to me. To mark details, details, right? Requested by. Right, so this is the email this person gets, right? Leave start date, leave end date, end date requested by this person. Okay, yeah, it's already in the body. Yeah, we still need to put it in the what that was the type of leave this person is requesting for. Type of leave request, yeah, and yes. And were completed, yes. All right, so this is the detail the person I would get in my mailbox, right, once this approval process starts, right? Okay, cool. I think these are the sections that really matter for now. Yeah, I think that's it. Control. Give me 1 second. Let me confirm the exact control I need to use. Right, so we would then need to put in a control, right? What that control does, sorry, okay, Omo, your hand is up. Omo Kude Itoje.
Thank you so much. So far I've been following. Thank you for what you do. Okay, so I just wanted to clarify on clarification on something. So you use yourself as maybe
An approver.
An approver. So can we also do, maybe we ask user to submit their supervisor email, and we can now use it on we can now use dynamic function to get their manager, and then it can now assign to their manager, or how can we do it?
Yeah, that's correct. So you can use you can create you can add it as part of the form where they get to submit their manager information, and then you key it in that approval flow, right? So that's also that brings us back initially to what I mentioned earlier, right? So depending on the nature and the existing process within that organization, that will now inform how you would want to go about it, right? Let's say it's a small business where you have just maybe 20%, right? And then every leave request goes to one person. The person has to, maybe the HR guy has to approve and all that, right? So you don't need to stress yourself. You know the person that would approve it. So you just put the person's name, or maybe you put in, if there are two in a team that either of them should approve, just put it, put their DL, maybe a shared mailbox that they have or something there, so that they get that approval notification, and then anyone that first to respond, anyone that responds, maybe approve or reject, gets moved, right? So yeah, understanding the business process would now inform what you would do. But yes, you can create the form entry, it puts in their supervisor's email, and then you just key it in for that particular section. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But the system we understand.
Okay,
So the system we understand that is using that user's supervisor. It will pick that user's supervisor. Not.
that's correct.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So because if you see, also one user condition, I just confirmed true or false, right? So it just wants to confirm if the approval came in for this guy. Choose value should come from. Okay, sorry. Let's just for here, assign to, right? I can use dynamic content here. I can maybe select email address. You can select that email address from here, and it would still get me what I want, right? So yeah, it's doable. But here I'm choosing to just enter the email address straight up. No, I don't want to do this, bro. Yeah, so this the way I want this to operate, right? Okay, yeah, let's come to this condition. I just want to confirm exactly what I did here, bro. For the outcome. Okay. Outcome, right? So what I did here was, right? So this I have so start and wait for an approval, and then I have a condition section that would run based on if approval is yes or no, true or false, right? So I want this condition to run based on the outcome of this guy. Start and wait for an approval, right? This guy. Start and wait for approval, right? The outcome of the approval, right? This guy, right? I think that's just what I need to. Okay, it's equals to approve, right? So if the outcome is approved, right? Is it to the D? Not a D, yeah. Yeah, so that's it for that part, for the condition section, right? So I want it to run on this guy, right? So just I don't know if I mentioned, right? Rest assured, you can actually edit this guy, right? If you don't like the name here, I think there's a way to change. There's a way to change the name, or maybe add. Let me see. There's a way to name it. I don't know if it's done for this guy. If you can do it for these guys here. Yeah, but there's a way to rename, maybe send email, you put in dash, notify, submitter, and all that, just to make it look readable from here, right? So if the leave request is approved, what do we want to do, right? First off, we want to send an email, right? Want to notify the user that, hey, your leave request has been approved, blah, 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 right? And then we also want to notify the person they're handing over to, that so person has handed over to you and all that, right? So because I usually, for every approval request, right, for every approval request that comes in, when you want to either approve or reject, it prompts you to put in a comment, right? So that's where it will become handy for when an approval, a leave request is not approved, right? You now want to show the user that, hey, this is why it wasn't approved and all that. So so what I want to do, I want to send an email. Send email. Send email. Then we want to send another email. Send email, right? So this email will be going to who? You use dynamic entry, right? So we want to sorry. One is to go to this person. right? And then we'll put it your body. Right, just to save time. This just basically to save the just so you know your leave has been approved, and then thing. Ah, who noticed why I did that? So I edited the second one instead of this guy, right? So no. Oh yeah, show all. I think should be somewhere here. Okay, clear all. Okay, and then we want to notify this guy here that this particular person and we want to notify this person who will be handing over to that. I want to put in your name. Right, so you want to do this, right? And now, if else, right? So this is what happens. This happens if your leave has been approved. Else, that's the false side of things now. Send an email. Send an email, right? You want to send an email to the person that requested for this leave. Email address. So I know most of you might be wondering why I usually pick my entries from this get response details, right? So why I do that is because I think that's the most accurate information from when the form was submitted. So whatever, maybe during the handshake, it's been anything that happens there, right? So I just prefer working from here. Subjects. Rejected. Right? Hey, buddy. Your leave request was rejected based on the below reason. Right? So I want to put a dynamic entry response summary. So this is just a rough sketch. So if you're doing this for a real organization, you will now have to, see how you draft it properly and all that, right? Okay, okay, right. So let me, right? Okay, this is what it looks like basically, right? So with this, your HR department can go to sleep and just probably publish that particular form in a SharePoint site. Anyone that wants to request a form can go there. That process runs itself, no paperwork, right? Everything is automated, right? So let's hope this works. Let me also confirm condition if it's true. Do this update item false. True. Okay, then I'm trying to start an email. Okay, cool. Let's see if let's save this particular flow. So during saving our automation, the backend tries to confirm that this particular flow doesn't have any errors. Your flow is ready to run. We recommend you test it. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see. Collect responses. Anyone can respond. Hold on. What's going on? Okay. Inactive tabs. Okay, got it. Collect responses. Anyone can respond, right? And then let's copy link. So I just want one person, right? Who would want to test out? Okay, let's Mano, can you probably just test out this flow?
Okay.
So I'm just yeah, I'm dropping the link to the form. Maybe just fill it out uh with random information, right?
Okay. I'll do that straight away.
Okay, yeah, drop it on the chat. Let's see. Let's see if no. So just I just want Emmanuel to fill it. Let's be sure it's working, and then we can all test run it on our own end, right? And also, why I want Emma to fill it is that probably he can put in his own email address, and then we'll see how that runs. Yeah. Let me see. Should be this mailbox. Okay. 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 So let me go back to this flow and then just track to see. Okay, it's running. Emmanuel, just let me know once you've submitted the form.
Yeah, I just submitted.
You just submitted, okay. Okay. The flow is running, right? Did you get an email? Maybe.
Not yet. Let me refresh
Okay.
my mailbox.
Okay.
Yeah, I got an email. Your leave has been submitted. Find below your leave request details, maternity, start date, end date. Stay tuned within the next 48 hours for decision from your line manager and further communications. I got it.
Okay. Okay, cool. So you see, I now have a leave approval from so this is the way. Okay, I think someone else submitted, right? So this is the way it looks like, right? So you see this leave approval request from this person, request Oyimafu, start dates, end dates, what type of leave is, yes, right? So something else to note. So I'm still trying to see if there's a way to change this, where this flow comes from, but it seems it's hard coded. Every flow request comes from this email address, flow no reply at microsoft.com, right? Yeah, let me see. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so you see this comes in. So I think it's actually good 2% did. So I want to approve and then I want to reject. Let's see how it works, right? So here I want to approve this flow and I say, yeah, yes, you can proceed you can proceed on your leave. Ensure to have fun, right? And then I submit. Right? So that's it. Right? So I've submitted for this guy. Right? So ideally, the next action would be to notify Emmanuel that your leave has been approved, and then to also notify the other email address he has entered. That, so Emmanuel, I think you would help me to confirm if that happened. Right? Cool.
I received the leave approval. So let me check the other email.
Yeah, check the other email. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, because while Emmanuel does that, so for Ken's own, I want to reject it just so we can see, let's be sure that particular section of that flow runs, right? Okay, so while Emmanuel tries to confirm that, right, let me reject this particular, sorry, Ken, I'm rejecting your leave. No hard feelings, right? As you are yet. Right? And then I reject, right? Documents
Yeah, I got the
rejected,
mail
right?
from the other.
Okay, you got the mail for the other person. That's good. Okay, so Ken, let us know. Okay, I think that's Omo, right? So Omo, let me know when, if you get that rejection email, and then if you get the description, like the comments are added, right?
Okay, sure. I'm checking.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. So while Omo checks that, can actually refresh this page. Right, so this particular page just shows you the run history of that particular flow. If there's an error, but I think it succeeded. So probably just a delay in maybe Omo get. Omo, yeah, what's up?
Okay, so I got it. But I did not get the message you added. So I'll
The
just
message
help.
added. Okay, cool. Thanks for that. Yeah, I suspected I didn't enter the correct. Give me 1 second.
I'll
So
share that now. Yeah.
okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Let me confirm the exact stuff I should have used. Give me 1 moment, please. Yeah. Okay. Let's edit this guy. I think I might know approval comment. Okay, yeah. And false, yeah. But not this guy. Let's try this particular person. Outcome. Okay, yeah. So this guy should have used, right? Responses and comments, right? This. So what I would do is I would save this, and then I will rerun your own flow, right? And then just confirm if you get the email. So I think this entered first 7 minutes ago, 8 minutes ago. So I think this guy. This guy. Okay, resubmit. Let me know if you get maybe emails, like if you still get that email. So you see what it does, right? So it does when response is submitted, get response detail, creates item, sends that email, and then it spins on this guy, right? It spins, waiting for a response, right? Waiting for that decision. So once the decision comes in, right, these other guys get processed, right? So let me know. Okay, yeah, sorry. I think it would also prompt me to either reject or approve again. So yeah, let me do that. One sec. Yeah, for Ken. Sorry. I think I must have rerun Emmanuel zone. Right. But yeah, let me reject it here. Let me reject it and then use the same sorry, Emmanuel. Let me reject and put in the same, stuff and see how it goes. So Emmanuel, I would appreciate if you can confirm if you received.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so just let
Yeah,
me know.
I got the email. Hey, Goody, your leave request was rejected. Please the reason below. So I got the
And then
message.
that message was there, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, cool stuff. Thanks for that confirmation, right? So I will let's edit, right? So basically we've seen how this works, right? Let me drop the screenshot here, right? Because I'm selected this guy just for reference sake, right? Get response detail, right? Get response detail, create an item. This just creates, like the way create an item in the SharePoint list, like we've seen, and then right, send an email, the basic stuff we do, sends an email, and then start and wait for an approval, right? Approval first to respond, and then we'll put in a condition, right? We'll put in a condition, body or outcome of this particular guy here. If it equals to approve, then run. Else, so once we have condition that is for just 2 items, if the first one doesn't happen, the next one automatically happens, right? So it's 2 things that can happen, either approve or reject, right? So once that is done, then we can, send an email. Okay, hold on. Send an email, right? Then we can, send an email to okay. Okay, so yeah, that's it basically for that particular flow. So we see how we cut into different segments of M365 to achieve this particular process. And then this flow can be used or can run as long as this organization exists. As long as this tenant is active, that this flow continues to run. Okay, can you share the lab to us? Can you share the lab to us? Yeah, Omo, what's up?
Okay, sorry. Want to ask on this condition and parts. So
Okay.
I didn't see where you for the force. although I on the outcome you said condition is the body / outcome when it's equals to approve. So I've not seen when is maybe rejected. So I don't know whether you want to just quickly go through that.
Yeah. So to shed more light on that, right? So in programming, right, when you do a I might be wrong, Sha. It's been a while I did software coding, right? So when you have a condition of two outcomes, so I am tagging this condition on if the outcome of the start and wait for approval is equals to approve, right? Do what's true. So by default, it goes for true, right? If it's equals to this, do this, right? Else, so for every if statement, there's always an else statement. Then there's an else if, right? So, but in this case, you just have two outcomes, right? Approve or reject. So I am basing my argument on if the decision is approved, right? Which is what I did here, right? If the body or outcome of that start and wait for approval is approved, true, do this. Else, if it's not, do the other, do the opposite, right? So that's where it comes into play there, right? So we're going for ones, for it's like true or false, 1 0, right? We go for ones and then zeros. So if this is this, true, else false, right? So that's the logic built into conditions, right? You need to what should you look at first? That's the true guy, because you see true is on the left, on my left, and it's on the right. So true, it gets into that stuff. True, what happens here? If it's this, do this guy, else do the false guy, right? So that's more of the inbuilt condition it has at the back end for that particular operation. I don't know if that clears out any doubt or more.
Yes, it's fine. So, but can we also add reject?
So now, if you say if this is reject, well, I've not tried it, right? I've not tried it. I've not tried it, right? So, but if I put in reject here, it might do the function of true, right? Or false. I've not tried it out, to be honest. So maybe that's what you can try out and see how it works,
Okay.
right, on your own end there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Busayo is asking if I can share a lab. Emmanuel, I don't understand how that works. Maybe you can shed light. If I can share the lab to us.
Okay, maybe I'm just thinking that what he means is maybe if you have a step-by-step, maybe you can come up with a step-by-step guide, just like a lab, whereby maybe they can do the same thing on their own. That's if you have a lab you used or something. That's just what he wants.
Okay. Busayo, can you shed light on what you need? Sorry, just so I'm
just like what he said just now, something like he said, just following our own.
Okay.
I really appreciate even what you did today. To really try to create our own. Thank you so much, sir.
Lab. Yeah, maybe
just like his step.
I don't know. So, do you want to step on how I arrived at this, or
yes.
from start to finish, basically, right?
Just follow it. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I think that would be a challenge for me. I'm new to this lab thing. Maybe Emmanuel will help me. Yeah, Solomon, what's up?
Okay, boss. Thank you so much for this wonderful class. There was a question here. I don't know if the question has been attended to because I took a few minutes away, so I came back.
Okay.
So the question is creating a SharePoint list the first step to take? No, sorry, not this one. He said, does it matter if the form was created outside the SharePoint site? That particular question.
Oh yeah. So for that, I answered it doesn't matter, right? So, but just make sure that the form was created within the organization. right?
Okay.
Within that M365 tenant. So once it's
Okay.
created within that tenant, then you are good. Anywhere at all. So even if the flow you're trying to draft can't see it, right? You can always use the form ID, right? Because that also comes to play for you.
Oh, great. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Okay, so aside any question, what I would do, Emmanuel, so I'll try and compile just a lab, how, like from start to finish, how it will work. And then, yeah, I'll share it and then let's see how that goes, right? But I would, if you permit me, I might do that tomorrow, because after this class, I have another function to attend, right? So I'll do that probably tomorrow when I'm a bit free, right? Yeah. So I think, yeah. So Emmanuel, I think that would be all from me today, right? Thanks everyone for listening in. Really appreciate the questions and all. So it just shows that we are in flow and going through this together. And thanks, Emmanuel, for the opportunity, and thanks for anchoring. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
So grateful for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much, both. Thank you. We're happy to see your face. We're happy to see you. Thank you. So thank you everyone for joining. We'll be giving you back your time so you can enjoy your weekends. Have fun. Thank you, Rafiah.
Thank you,
for joining
boss.
us. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Rafiah was on this call. Hi, Rafiah. How's it
She's on
going?
this call.
Serious. And she
Happy New Year.
She didn't want us to hear her voice.
Okay.
She's acting like Madam MJ that we sneak into a meeting and sneak out without
Yeah,
knowing.
I didn't see her coming though. Yeah. Okay, cool stuff. Cool stuff. Yeah, thanks guys. Really appreciate the time. I'll be dropping off now. Thanks.